On the table are two machines. Um, on the right is a Singer 237. That one came from Michigan, made from 1968 to 1972. And on the left is the Singer 6212C that I've had some problems with. Um, and if you look at the two machines and how they're extremely similar, um, three needle positions, four zigzag and straight stitch. This one does have a fine area, which is good for satin stitch and things like that. This part of this is more modern. You get, I don't know if that's just a straight zigzag, a blind stitch, an elastic stitch, and four. So they're similar. That's at the latest 1972. This is 1984. Now, I have a problem right now with the needle position. And the people on the Vintage Singer list have been helping me work on it, and I did put a video up about taking the lid off. I've done as much as I want to do right now, so I'm just going to run this machine on straight stitch and see if it corrects its own problem. But the reason I'm making the video, two reasons. Staying within your own time period. It's kind of a abstract way of thinking. I love the old machines, but when I was somewhere around 24, 25, I bought a 6012, which is the same as this, only without the free yarn. And so this is my time period, really, because when you grow up, you go to high school, you go to college maybe, you pick out your first machine. I bought a 6012 before I got married, before I had my son. This is my time period, and unfortunately, the 1980s was not the greatest time for Singer. The earlier machines are better, going all the way back to my earliest white is in 1891. My father had two machines from the 1790s. 1790s. But this is my time period, which is Singer in the 80s. So what I'm going to do, I was going to throw the machine out, then I was going to get another one. You know, I'm going through all of these. What do I do with the machine? It doesn't work perfectly. Well, what I'm going to do with the machine is use it. Right now it'll do straight stitch and two zigzag stitches, but I don't think, I bought this used, I don't think it's seen much use at all. And I think part of the problem with machines, especially from the 80s, and I haven't really looked at many from the 90s, but if you don't use them, they tend to just say, well, then I don't have to work. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but you have to use the machines. All of them. The antique ones, my video about the 1588 and how it sounded like a train until I oiled it and used it for a day. The same applies for these. So I can't pick up the heavier machines. I did a video yesterday on the 237 that I ended up deleting the video because I had trouble speaking through it, and that's because I picked up the machine. A 237 without the motor, without a case, and a very tiny Bishop hand crank on there, 30 pounds. So I picked it up, I got it on the table, and it hasn't moved since. And now I put the motor on it, so it's probably, and the case, so it's probably close to 40 pounds. And I just can't pick them up like I used to. So this one is not only my time period in my life, it's also only 20 pounds. So it's not going in the trash just yet, and I'm going to fiddle with it a little bit. I'm going to use it. So I have two more face masks to make. I might make one on the 237, which I know works fine, and one on this with my safety glasses on. We'll see. I a lot of machines are disposable. That I could, if it's beyond me to adjust it or fix it, I could have it fixed or adjusted. But I can just buy another one if I really want to use this machine. So what I'm saying is, this is more of a basis for my sewing than the old machines. Because if you go by, the average person buys a sewing machine when they move out into their own apartment or house to make their curtains. You know, I mean, that's how I grew up. You didn't really need one till you needed to make things for the house. Unless you earlier started making your own clothes, and that's when in school I used a 237 to make clothes. So, but the 6012 made all my son's clothes. So this is more my time period, unfortunately. The other thing I want to mention is I'm talking too much, and don't anybody make any jokes, because I always talk too much, but I'm talking too much, and between that and picking up the machines, I'm not doing all that well. I'm having seizures. So I won't be making videos unless I feel I can make one, like a short video. And we'll see how it goes. This one, I encourage you to join the Vintage Singer list. And I'll put the link in there again, because if you just remove the fact that I have all these machines and I kind of know what I'm doing, kind of know what I'm doing, and if you look at it that maybe I only had this machine, let's just pretend that for a minute, and my machine is not working. And they were the ones who gave me the answers of what to look for. And now I can make my decision. Do I buy a new one? Do I look for another one from the 80s? Do I stay within that time period? Is this what I'm more comfortable with? It's only 20 pounds is like wonderful. So everybody has to make their own decisions like that. But Vintage Singers, you wouldn't believe how helpful they were. So for a little while, happy sewing.